Hi there, Teacher Mike here. In this video, I'm going to read to you a book called About Insects, just to give us all some foundational knowledge about insects. So insects are a type of animal, and they have some traits that make them unique, and there's some things that make insects very important to us. So we're going to read this story and look at some common insects that we might see around. So I'm going to make my video smaller. There we go. I'm really small now in the corner, and then you can see the book right here. It's called About Insects by Catherine Sill and illustrated by John Sill. Hey, they have the same last name. Maybe they're part of the same family. Okay, so Catherine Sill wrote the words, and John Sill illustrated the pictures. Let's see what happens in the story about insects. Insects have 6 legs. That's right. All insects have 6 legs. If an animal does not have 6 legs, it is not an insect. Are people an insect? No, we have 2 legs. Are spiders an insect? No, they have 8 legs. Okay, so insects have 6 legs. And on this picture, we have 3 insects, and these are called dogbane leaf beetles. So they must love to be on the dogbane leaf. There's for beetles specifically, there's thousands of types of beetles, and they're all unique and different. They're pretty neat. There's so many different insects and so many different types. So we're going to learn about some. Let's check these out. And 3 body parts. So insects have 6 legs, and they have 3 body parts. And here's 2 insects right here. These are the eastern velvet ants. Ooh, look there. It looks like their bodies have a little softness on them. That's cool. Insects are so unique because there's so many of them. So this one is called the eastern velvet ant. And the 3 body parts are the head, which is the front that has its eyes and its mouth, the thorax, which is in the middle, and that's where they have their internal organs, and then their abdomen in the back. And the abdomens of different insects can look really, really different. So check that, always try to see what their abdomens look like when you're looking at insects. They have a waterproof skeleton on the outside of their bodies. So we humans have a skeleton inside our bodies, the bones that give our structure. Insects, on the other hand, have an exoskeleton, which is on the outside of their body. And this insect right here in our picture is a giant stag beetle. And you can see it's waterproof because there's water droplets on the outside of its body. So they do not absorb moisture. Like when water droplets onto our skin sucks it in and it absorbs it. Theirs does not. The outside of their body is hard, kind of like plastic or wood or metal, or it's hard. That hard exoskeleton gives their body structure and protection. Young insects hatch from eggs. So these insects right here are praying mantises. Praying manti. Let's count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And they just all hatched from their egg, and they're about to go about their lives. And though these are baby praying mantises, but they look like adults. Some insects, when they're born, they already look like an adult. Other insects have to go through a transformation to look like an adult. They go through several changes as they grow up. Oh, what a great next page. So this insect starts off as a caterpillar, and then it eats and eats and eats and gets full, and then it makes a chrysalis right here, and it hangs out inside that chrysalis. And when it's inside the chrysalis, its whole body transforms into goo, and it turns into a liquid. And then it reforms, and when it's ready, it comes out as a butterfly, a monarch butterfly. So that transformation is quite magnificent. It is quite drastic. It is a huge difference. Some insects go through a huge transformation. Not all, though, just some. Antennae help insects smell, taste, and feel. That's right. So this is a Virginia Catuchid moth. There's 2 of them, and you can see their antennae right here on the front of their head. They're really long on these moths, so they're really nice to see. And so Insects will use their antennae to feel their environment. So if they're walking through some grass, the antennae will feel where the grass blades will be so they can avoid them. Or some insects use their antennae to smell. Some use them to taste, so they'll touch their antennae to something to taste it. Isn't that interesting? And some use it to communicate. So some insects will bump their antennae into each other so that they can communicate. Very, very cool. We don't have antennae. Ooh, we're a little bit jealous. Some insects suck animals or plants to get food. So this is a black horsefly right here on this horse's face, and it sucks the blood from the horse to get food, which the horse might not like, doesn't look too happy about it. So the insect is so small, it just lands on its face, and then it does a little bite, and then it sucks blood out of its body. And the horse will be totally fine because the insect is so small, it's not going to be a huge detriment to the horse, but it's a little bit annoying. There's an insect that does that to humans called a mosquito. Go like this if you ever had a mosquito bite you. Yeah, and a mosquito comes and lands on your skin. They put their mouth inside of our bodies, and then they suck out our blood just a little bit, and then they fly away. And then there's a little itchy bump on your skin, and then your itchy bump heals. So we're so much bigger and stronger than insects. Those blood-sucking insects don't really harm us, but it can be a little bit annoying. Others bite and chew their meals. So this is a southeastern lubra grasshopper, and it is chewing this leaf up. Look at it. You can see all these bite marks. So it is eating a leaf. Like the caterpillar, this grasshopper eats leaves. The horsefly doesn't eat leaves. It drinks horse blood. So it's a little bit different. Insects are super interesting because there are so many, and they can be so different and so unique. Many insects fly, like these common white-tailed dragonflies. They are flying. They have 4 wings each. Houseflies fly, bumblebees fly, moths fly, butterflies fly, dragonflies fly. A lot of insects have fly in their name, which tells you they probably fly. Some crawl because they have no wings. So this is a giant walking stick insect. You can see it right here. It's standing on top of this stick, but it blends in really well. That's why it's called a walking stick, because it looks like a stick, but it walks. And so this insect's mode of defense is camouflage. So birds like to eat insects. But if you're a bird and you see this, you might just think it's a stick. You don't want to eat a stick, so you might not eat it. And this is a cool one to look at. Let's look. So we can find its antennae. They're really long right off its head right here. It's got 6 legs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And look, here's its thorax. It's really long and thin, and it has little ridges on it. That was much different than the thorax of that ant we saw earlier. So their body parts can look really different, but they still have the same ones. 6 legs, 2 antennae, head, thorax, abdomen. Others jump. Ooh, this is a gladiator meadow katydid, and it is jumping. Look at that. These long hind legs help it to jump. And check it out. 6 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Antennae. It's got its head, its thorax, and its abdomen. But those all look like one, but they're separate. They're different. Just on this insect, they all look like one. Or swim. This is a whirligig beetle, and it is swimming in the water in a spiral. That looks really cool, in a whirly wheel. Whirligig. Maybe that's why they call it a whirligig. So a lot of insects have names that describe what it looks like or what it does, because animals get their names from scientists who discover them and then write about them and say, I discovered it. And they write it down and they study them and they get to name it. So a lot of scientists just name animals based on what they look like or what they do. And since there are so many insects, their name tells you a lot about them. Insects live almost everywhere. And right here, we have 2 silverfish, one here and one here. Silverfish love to eat paper. So these silverfish are eating these books, which is a nuisance. Sometimes in libraries, silver bugs are quite the nuisance, and the librarians do not like them. I'm not a fan of silverfish because they eat books, and I love books. I try to take care of books. So if I ever see silverfish near books, I say, "Shoo, silverfish, shoo, get away from our books. We want our books to be safe." Some are active during the day. So these are some honeybees. We have 1, 2, 3 honeybees. They are active in the daytime. They are drinking the nectar from the plants, and the yellow pollen from these plants are getting stuck on their legs, and then they're going to fly around to different plants, and that pollen is going to go with them, and it's going to pollinate new plants and help new plants to grow. Honeybees are so important to our plants' survival. They help them breed. So we want to take care of those bees. So some insects are active during the day, like these honeybees. Others are active only at night, like this Luna moth. Wow. So this is the Luna moth. It almost looks like leaves. It's camouflage too. And it's called a Luna moth because Luna is Spanish for moon. And the moon is out in the nighttime. And this moth is only out in the nighttime. I'm going to be a little bit quiet for that. The Luna moth. So beautiful. Some insects may be pests, like this German cockroach. There's 3 cockroaches, and they're trying to eat these tomatoes. Shoo, cockroaches, shoo, leave our tomatoes alone. So, yep, some insects try to eat humans' food, and so we shoo them away. Shoo, please leave our food alone. Go eat some food outside. Many are very helpful, like this convergent ladybug beetle. And there's also aphids on this picture. So these red and black dotted insects are ladybugs, and these tinier green insects are aphids. So aphids eat plants. Ladybugs eat aphids. So farmer, this looks like an ear of corn. So inside these leaves is corn. You can see the little corn husk up here. So this is probably on a farm, and the aphids are eating the corn. And the ladybugs are eating the aphids. So guess what? Farmers love ladybugs because ladybugs eat the aphids who eat their plants. So if the ladybugs eat all of the aphids, there's no aphids to eat the plants. So the plants will be able to grow and flourish and be wonderful. So the ladybugs are helpful, and the aphids are a nuisance. So you got a helpful insect and an unhelpful insect all on the same page. Interesting. Insects are an important part of our world. So this is a mayfly, and this is a rainbow trout trying to eat the mayfly. So insects are crucial, which means they're integral, which means we need them very badly. If all the insects went away, then fish would have nothing to eat, and birds would have nothing to eat. And if animals had nothing to eat, then they would die. And if we didn't have animals, then we would die. So insects are super important. And although sometimes they can scare us a little bit because they're so tiny and they can move so quickly, they can't really hurt us. So they're totally fine. And we need them. So we want to take care of insects. Sometimes at my house, insects come into my house, especially ants. So I always say, shoo, ants, please go back outside. And I just try to get them to go back outside. And if I find a ladybug, I try to pick it up very gently and I take it out to the garden so that it can take care of my garden. Or if I see other insects, I say, shoo, please go back outside. Because I don't want to have the insects in my house, and that's okay. I just want them to live their lives outside. And you can do that too. But insects are crucial. They're important. We want to take care of them, even though we might not want them right next to us all the time. And there we go. That's the end of our story. So thank you for listening to our story about insects. I hope you enjoyed it. And please write a comment about something you know about insects or something you like about insects, or you can ask a question about something you want to know about insects. So you could write something you know about insects, something you like about insects, or something you want to know about insects. And then I can try to answer those questions. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.